All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. All right, so now, um, what I do next, I got all my squares cut out, and the others, I did get them all cut out, um, and then I have a bunch of them over here, a couple piles of these over here. All right, so now what I do next is, there's a couple things that I use. What I do is when I purchase PDF files, what I do is I I print them out, and then I preserve those files. And rather than print them out multiple times, what I do is I'll preserve them either using a heavy cardstock, and I also use those dollar store cutting mats. Those they're too flimsy and poisonous really to using to be baking in. Um, um, I'll use those. I'm out of those, so and we don't have a dollar store out here. So my next best option for me is to use. Let me turn my fan on. Just getting a little warm. Is to oh, didn't think about that first. Is to use cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you what I do to preserve mine. Everybody does something different, but this is how I preserve mine. So I just basically take my and just use regular glue. I just use little sticker glue, and I just glue it. And what I do also is um, I cut out the big sizes or the larger sizes in most cases. And I'll put this on a fold as well. I'll try to get as many on one cardstock paper as I can. However, what I'll do is, oh, shoot, I didn't bring no hand wipes either. I make sure there's no wrinkles in it because you want it to be completely to a correct size. Um, but I'll go ahead and glue down all of my pieces, and that way I'm preserving my pattern. And sometimes it takes multiple sheets to do that, and that's fine. Uh, and I'll just go ahead and rearrange the best way I can while trying to use as less amount of pieces of sheets of cardstock I can because it could be a little expensive. When I'm using the mats, I know I'll use a heavier glue. I'll use a Gorilla Glue, something heavier that I know will absolutely stick. Um, and I'll just go through and glue all of these down. Now, I don't wait overnight to use the patterns or anything like that. I will use them immediately because this glue does dry pretty fast. But this is what I'll do. I want to hurry and get through all of these. But this is a good way of preserving your patterns. You probably can do this with the store-bought patterns. I've never tried this. I've only done this with my PDF patterns that I've purchased. Um, when I purchase a PDF, I've never tried this with the tissue patterns because that paper is very delicate. And I've never tried it with the tracing paper that you can purchase to preserve a pattern as well. I've never tried it. But this is how I've been doing this for years. It's not something that I just started doing. I've literally been doing this for years. Um, but it's a good way to keep your patterns for a very, very long time. And you don't have to print off a new PDF every single time you go to use that pattern. Because again, remember, I'm actually making two hats. This glue stick is not the same as the last one. I do have a tissue though. Probably best to use gloves, but it is what it is. Um, and also what I do is, now I won't do this today because it will mess up the paper, but I'll show you what I do. Also, I also use tape, clear tape, to preserve my pattern pieces. And I'll show you what I do with that too. I don't know if y'all know this Apache song by Sugar Hill Gangs. Also, I'm going to put that on Do Not Disturb. Um, they also was telling you their true identity because they are Apache Indians. I know a lot of people don't like to accept that, we are the original Apache Indians. So that was the brim, which is the middle piece, and that was the visor part of the bucket hat. Now with this pattern, and I'll try to remember to link the pattern that I purchased in the description box. So this is the actual top of the hat, and it printed out in 4 pieces. And what you have to do is you have to piece these pieces together yourself. Typically, what I would do is tape them. So that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna tape them first, and then no, I'm not. I'm just gonna glue them. I'm just gonna glue them very well to make sure that they're lined up. That's what I do. Normally, I would tape them first. To make sure this circle is correct. No one spent a lot of time on this. This is the piece that goes here. I know a lot of people don't like to accept that we are Black Americans. They just so used to calling us Black Americans that they don't want to accept that Black Americans are the original Indians of this land, and we are the original Apaches because everybody wants to assume. I forgot to cut the bottom part of that. Everybody wants to assume that what Black Indian, or they call Black Indian tribes, they weren't called that back then, but what we call today Black Indian tribes, people want to make you believe that we only existed in the South, and that's not true. There was a time, this is our land, so there was a time where nobody was here but us. So we existed all throughout the entire land. Um, and we are the ones to this day to have the most heirs, HEIRS property. Um, there are whites that have heirs property because the men married into the family, because that's the only way that they can actually have property. That's the only way they could be in the tribes, was to marry into our tribe. So they had to marry the women. So, you had the white men that were coming over here marrying the women to get into the tribes. Um, and that is verifiable information on the Library of Congress. Okay, I cut that a little bit too much, but I got it lined up. That's all that matters, is that it's lined up evenly. Okay, so I didn't do that really properly. So like I said, typically I would already have that taped together, and I did it a little too much to the side, but it's fine. So, and this is the pattern piece. I know it's a little, my light is a little crazy. Oh, my light fell, no wonder. I didn't know it fell over. Here we go. That's a little better. Um, let me, yeah, I don't want to do that. So, so here's the pattern piece. And please, 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 please make sure you have paper scissors and fabric scissors. And so I'll just cut that out. I will just cut along the pattern that I just take on there. Put my glasses on. You know I am getting older. And no jokes in the comment section either. I don't want to have to block you. So I'll just cut along. So you may say, well, Kim, something is on me. I need a smaller size. So how in the world, if I cut just the one big size, how am I going to get the right size? And so that's when you would use, I just brought it over here. You would go old school, which I still do to this day. And I go with the trusty, handy dandy tracing wheel. Let's get this out the way. I already don't have a lot of space. Put you there for now. And that handy dandy tracing wheel. Old fashioned tracing wheel. So you would take, I don't know if anybody is not familiar. This is a pretty beat up piece, but you would just take your pattern, you put it on your fabric, you would take the wheel, this, you would always put the color side down. Tracing paper always comes with, and I mean, there's some tracing paper, very little, where it's colored on both sides, but I think I've only ever seen that once. But typically it's a white side and then the color side. And these come in like bright orange, yellow, blue, I believe white. I think those are the colors, or orange. I don't think they come in any other colors. I've never seen purple either. But you'll take this and you'll put this down on the fabric. You'll put your pattern piece on top. And then you would, now the light is too bright, you would then trace out the size that you need. And that's how you would get the size that you need. And we may do that later. So let's go ahead and finish cutting out. And then with my cardstock, I don't throw it away if it's extra space on it, because you never know if you have some small pieces, which will come in handy for any given pattern that you can go ahead and small pieces that you may have to, you could use it for. And you want to get as close to that line as possible while cutting into it, so you can have the accuracy of the line. Ooh, that's some blended. And so that you can continue with your accuracy. So if you see here where I just cut like diagonal, because I want to preserve the three sizes. And I'll show you again what I mean. So for this, it's a size 24. This is an inch, as by the way. So if you can see, it's the 22, 23, and 24, right? Yes. And so what I did was I cut slanted, because those lines there are important. So like this top line here, that goes to the 24. However, if you look here, this line here goes to the 22. I mean, sorry, this top line, it goes to the 22. That goes to the 22. The middle line goes for the 23. And then this dark line here is for the 24. So you don't want to cut those lines out. So I always do it on a slant here, so that way I'm preserving all the other sizes that are on this pattern. I hope you understand that. And I will put this in my folder with the rest of my cardstock. Okay. All right, let's cut out 2 more pieces. I didn't do a real good job. I'll go back and fix those later for time's sake. I'm not rushing, but because this is a DIY video, my original title did say DIY. And like I said, I never throw away any of the pieces, because you never know how many small pieces you may need. So even down to this piece here, I will preserve this piece because I have some other items, some other patterns, like I said, that have small pieces, and I can put them on there. All right. It is still a little wet, so I'm being very careful and gentle. Typically, I would wait a couple of hours, but for the sake of the video, and because I didn't do it in advance, because I just wanted to show you how I preserve it. And I'm going to save this little piece as well. And remember, I said I cut on a slant so I can preserve all of those sizes because I will be making. I know I said I'm making two hats. I'm making two hats for, one for two other people, but I am eventually gonna make myself, and I am on the smaller side. My head circumference actually is not even the adult size. My head circumference is smaller than the adult size. My head circumference is actually the youth size. And so, but I will be using that 22, and I will alter it to fit my head because I'm technically an 18 and a half size. And so I'll use the 22, but I know how to alter it to make it a 20. I'm going to make it a 20 and nothing smaller. I don't want it smaller than a 20 because I do have a hair, and as you know, it's in a bun right now, but I do have a lot of hair. And although I got to sit down right now with the what is it, dew, that dew gel, that dew line, Deux. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, because it is freshly washed. But sometimes I wear my hair curly, naturally curly. So then in that case, it's thicker because it's more puffier. So I'm going to just stick with a 20. Instead of doing an 18 and a half, I'm going to do a 20. So I'll be able to take that pattern from a 22 down to a 20. And like I said, this is something I've literally been doing. I'm not going to say I've been doing it my whole sewing career. However, I have been doing this for about 25, good 30 years. Like I've literally been doing this a long time, preserving my patterns. So I'm not sure why the brim had these extra lines. I am going to cut this one down to the 24 because all the other ones are 24 max. I never understood why that one came up to um, why this one was up to a 26. I'm not sure, but we're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm not going to say that piece. All right, so now we have all of our pieces cut out. And like I said, typically what I would do, I'm not going to do the whole thing now. Typically in this case, what I would do, I'll do this one. I would then take my tape and tape down the pieces that I put together to make sure they stay sturdy. Just slap a piece of clear tape on it. Now, if you that person that got money and you don't mind, just keep printing, 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 go right ahead. For one, I don't like to keep printing. It's annoying to me. Um, but, you know, do what's best for you. And like I said, then I'll take, and I normally will take it and tape all the way around to preserve those lines. I'm not going to do it now. I'm just showing you a little bit how I would just preserve those lines for my tracing wheel. So I would just go ahead and tape all the way around here to preserve all those lines. I'll do that later. Leave these now. Ooh, it's my jam banana. Let's skip that. Only because of that one word that is being used. Um, so let's move you over here. All right. And I do have my I have my trusty old pinking shears too. I always have these with me as well because you just never know. Because some things I do use, I cut with those pinking shears. Um, but I would always recommend having them next to you. Oh, and remember in the beginning, I told you, I think I threw it over here too far, buried it now. But, oh, here it is. Remember, I told you I said this wasn't a self-healing mat, which it technically is not, but I forgot, y'all, that it came with its own rotary. So I've used it off camera and it did not cut into the mat, which I am so upset about because I forgot. But I didn't use this the last time that I cut anything. I used my blue one. I just opened this. So I'm surprised that it cut this time. So I'm not sure why this time it cut into the mat. All right, anyway, let's go. So what I am going to do is cut out the fabric. I'm not going to do any sewing tonight, but I'm going to cut out the fabric because I'll have to stop the video, start it back up, start it back up, stop it. And I just don't feel like that tonight. I'm going to go ahead and cut this fabric out. That's what I am going to do. I don't have a lot of space, but I already kind of um, gathered the fabric so that I can cut that one piece on the fold because I only have one piece for this pattern that goes on a fold. And we are going to use the tracing wheel method. Tracing wheel method. We are going to use that method. I think I'm going to get another piece of paper. Y'all, when I tell y'all this paper is every bit of 20 years old because I stopped using it technically. Let's go with the white. No, it's really old though. I'm not going to hold you because I had this paper back in Delaware and I'm going to go with that. I had this paper all the way back in Delaware. I literally brought this paper from Delaware to Chicago. And we're talking when I finally moved to Chicago full time, we're talking about 2016. So maybe not 20 years old. Well, no, yeah, because I had it years prior to that. So yeah, I would say 20 because I literally had it prior to that. All right. So what I am going to do is use pins to lay this on the fold. Now I do not cut my salvages, and so this is one of the few times I would use pins, but I am going to pin this to get an accurate cut. I am going to cut the big size first. No, actually, I'm going to cut the smaller size first. Oh, shoot, that did not pin right. So, all right. Let's go to and it's a little thick trying to get these pins in here. However, like I said, my pattern will be preserved. So it's making it a little thick and difficult. Normally it doesn't, but it is. I think it's because it's also denim. All right. So it's going to be a little hard for you to see. I'm going to put that on. I don't like the pins to fall. And I can't afford pins to fall. So typically what I would do, oh, so here's one of the ones I told you about the double side. I didn't even realize I had any. So you just take the paper and you're going to stick it underneath the pattern. You're going to slide it on the tips of the pattern. And you're just going to take your wheel. I'm having a hard time, so I'm going to have to take this out. Okay. So you're going to just slide it underneath there. And now you're going to trace the size that you want. So I am going to look for the 22. So 22 is this line. Okay, so it's the middle line. For this is the middle line. And you're just going to move the paper down and keep tracing. And the markings are going to come out onto the fabric. And you're just going to keep going around. Hit it. And just keep going around until you trace out the whole thing. All right. Just so my nails. Ooh, this paper's old because I can barely see that. I can see it, but it is extremely faded. I have pins, but my pins are starting to, which I will never purchase those again. I've never had this problem with these though. So this goes to show how old this is. I almost can't see it. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna have to try to use. I think I threw the pins up. I am struggling with that tracing paper, but it is old. I need to get some more. I brought these pins off of Amazon, and unfortunately, they haven't been working. So I did get a refund for them. And the thing about it is that they're not working, and yet I never even got a chance to use them. That's a little faded too, though. But yeah, and if you have pins, use those. I got more coming. That's a little bit better today. But that's how you can use the tracing wheel. So I'll try to use that. I don't know. I've already replaced the white and the blue before I even had a chance to use them. No, excuse me. I just was so disappointed. Like, and because I live out here, we pay for shipping, and they want me to pay to ship them back, and I'm like, that's more than what the product costs. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying to ship a product back that already paid to have shipped to me that you sent to me that was defective. So I told them either you're going to reverse the charge or I'm going to contact my bank and we're going to dispute the charge and let the bank know you sent me a defective item that you got a nerve to want me to pay to send back. We're not doing that. So Amazon just went on and refunded it. I'm going to cut some of this, but I'm not going to go too far because I need to. Oh, sorry, y'all. Okay, so I did this piece. I'm going to put you right there. All right, so I'm gonna try my best to trace this out. Oh God, sorry, y'all. Ah, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? What was I thinking? How about I change this? Let's do Jaheim. Let's just shuffle some Jaheim for now. I don't know what I was thinking. Let me my paper scissors. Because I didn't do the dotted line. Okay. This would save me from having to try to pin. No, because this pin is not really trying to come up either. I already know that the white doesn't work, so that's why. But this time I got the chalk pins, So I'm going to try those. I see a lot of women using them and they seem to love them, but I am not successful with these pens. Oh, and I have another video for y'all too, that I have to edit. All right, let's see. So let's just put you down now. And one thing, y'all, that oh is a pet peeve of mine is when people waste material. I feel like, why do you have your patterns faces so far apart? Like you're wasting material. Oh, you talking about a pet peeve, y'all? I'll be so irritated. So actually, I'm gonna have to use the tracing wheel as well still, the best of my ability, because I am actually doing the wrong size too. I'm doing both actually, and that's not good. So now I'm wasting, like I just said. Hopefully this will work. Let's see. Nope, it's not coming through. I'm gonna try the white. Okay, the white has worked. And I'm using my weights. To make sure I'm getting the accurate size. Some of the sides is fine. The lines are the same for all the sizes, but then there are some where the lines are different. And you got to make sure that you have the right ones. Okay, good. All right, great. So the white has saved the day. All right. Even though this is not working, I think I'm going to still get some tracing paper just for issues like this, for reasons like this, I should say. You can never go wrong with some tracing paper as long as it works. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you why I'm cutting this out as well. Because I'm doing something that's a little different than what the pattern calls for. The pattern is also a reversible in case you want a reversible. However, I usually keep my patterns, but my pieces, I can't believe I didn't do that. All right. Still a little faded. So just in case. I used to actually be an alto. Um, so my husband asked me did I want to go to vocal classes at one time to get back to singing, but I don't. I don't really need to. Pieces. Um, I'm not going to go back to singing professionally anyway, so no. And one of the reasons why you don't want to use paper scissors on your material is because you definitely would destroy them. You destroy your material, and then you don't want to use um, you don't want to use your fabric scissors on paper because you'll dull those and destroy those as well. I really wanted a table where I can stand, but if we decide to ever go back home, I'm going to get an adjustable table. One that I can, because I would prefer to stand to cut, do this part and cut out. I would prefer standing. So just in case. All right. And this type of paper, this type of the tracing wood typically does not um, it typically does not fade, but I am finding out that it is fading. So let's put it back on here. See, I'm really struggling here, y'all. We're kicking it. Let's see. It's just too close to me. I'm doing it like this because I got the weights on here to keep it where it won't shift. Okay. That's a lot of material. All right. All right, and this is the actual crown. Like this. And again, I have to have these done, 2 of them by Sunday night, and a purse, and possibly some earrings. Okay. I told you I don't like wasting material. So there's a store out here I just recently learned about. It's called Oldies. I don't know if there's an Oldies in on the mainland. But I learned that it was out here. Oh shoot, I'm doing the wrong line now. I learned it was out here, not because I seen a commercial, but because I seen a post from a random guy that I don't even know on YouTube. And he was saying how they have Joanne Fabrics liquidation. And it literally had Joanne Fabrics original label on. So it's not like the company out here put it on. It was literally their logo. And it was their I mean, I know you can recreate it and buy it, but I really don't think so. I think this is really Joanne Fabrics liquidation. So what I'm thinking is that Michaels didn't get all of it. I don't know. And so I'm gonna get there hopefully on Monday when I go to the post office to drop this off. I can find it because none of the taxi drivers know where it is. And so hopefully I'll be able to find it. Because our taxi drivers are pretty good with Morning Island, the guy we use. And he said he didn't even know where it is. He said he's never even heard of them. There's supposedly 2 fabric stores that he's never heard of and don't know what part of the island it is. He said, I've never heard of that part of the island. The unfortunate thing, more than likely, because how our people do, because they're so brainwashed to think they're African, they probably sell a whole bunch of African stuff because when you go online to their website, that's the first thing you see is African fabrics. And I do not want that. I'm not African. I do not want any African. Even I'm not going to say I'm never going to make anything African because it's sales. But it's just sad that Black Americans have these businesses and they only cater to. Oh, it is a okay. It's a heat erase pen. I didn't realize those were. I thought they was only by water. Anyway, we always tend to buy African material when we're not African. And interesting thing, little history lesson before I end, because I'm going to end this live now that I got all my pieces cut out. I have more cut out, matter of fact. Let me get my clips. I got some right here too. That I took off for something else. Then I clip these. Usually I clip these with my harder clips. And I'll just put a little couple clips in there just to keep the piece. I mean, it's kind of easy to tell these apart, but just to keep them together. And let me clip my patterns to the pieces that was cut. But really quickly, a quick history lesson. Um, I was trying to research one day what fabrics did the Black American Indians use, and I was so surprised when it came up stating um, anything indigo. And if you know what indigo is, you would know that it's a plant, it's a flower, and they use the flower to dye material, but not just material. They used it to dye denim. So denim is native to the Americas because of the indigo plant. I'm gonna talk more about this on my Copy Hue Mississippian channel. Please go over there and subscribe to that channel. I'm about to start going live over there as well. Only have 2 subscribers, but that's really my fault. I hadn't been building up that channel yet, but I need to build it up. But yes, the indigo plant is native to America, and we use it to dye. So and not just Black American Indians, my tribe particularly, which is the Chippewa tribe. Give me 1 second. Let me plug my iPad back up, you guys. Once again, I thought I was recording earlier, and I wasn't recording, and I had to unplug this, and make sure it's not scraping. I had to unplug this and walk around, but yeah. So it's the Chippewa tribe. The Chippewa tribe are the ones who basically harvested the indigo plant to dye their garments blue. So blue is a popular color for the Chippewa tribe, and they're the ones that dyed um, denim. Now you'll see some articles will call it the NIGGER cloth, but that's not what we called it. That is because that word didn't apply to the Americas. That word originally applies to the continent. I can't say the continent of Africa because that's a whole history story in itself. That's a new continent, and it's a new, and all the countries in it is new. But there was a northern part of that land mass that was habitable because the rest of the continent was not habitable. Just like very much now, they can't grow crops. Um, but so that word was used over there. Actually, that word is common amongst the Brits or the Britons in the Scots. And if you want to learn more about that, drop that in the comment section. But I'll talk about that more over on the other channel because that's going to be straight American Indian business or something on my iPad, and it's going to be history and stuff over there, and it'll be like recipes, indigenous recipes, and things like that over there that I'm going to add to that channel. But that is just a little tip. I mean, a little tidbit I wanted to share with you. So yes, when you're wearing denim, I'm not talking about that denim that's blended with polyester and nylon and things of that nature. But when you're wearing 100% cotton denim, just think that it came from the Chippewa tribe, which is the northern tribes. Chippewa actually part of the Mississippian Empire. Um, the Mississippian Empire went from the south all the way up into um, more than halfway into Canada. And so the Chippewas, which were in the Dakotas, which we call North and South today, Wisconsin, part of what we call Michigan, Indiana, up into Canada today. So it's a lot of bands now within it. A lot of them been taken over by these Siberians that came and migrated here. However, we're the ones that not only did we create the Afro, but we created indigo. So that's just a little history lesson I wanted to give you. But I'm going to end it here. I may just continue this video tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. I may just start a whole new video, but I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, I did a lot today. I have four of these piles. Yeah, four of these piles. Well, four and a half technically, because this pile is two. So I technically got 4.5 piles of these squares. That's going to go onto here. Um, yeah, my good denim. So, but yeah, so it's going to go onto here, and we'll do that tomorrow. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and go through, gluing those down. But I do have to wait for that to dry, and then we'll go ahead and stitch up. It's probably going to take me, I'm thinking maybe 4 to 5 days to do this bucket hat, only because of the way that I'm doing it. Typically, this would be maybe a 2 hour project. If you were just doing a regular reversible bucket hat, it's going to be just a regular, probably 2 hours. However, because I'm doing a patch bucket hat, it's going to take me several days. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. And then I have to whip up a bag. I'm just going to make her a nice little hobo bag, and it's going to match. I don't think I'm going to patch that. I was going to patch the bag, but I think I changed my mind because it's a lot of patching. Um, I don't know if I want to do that because I'm going to have to use my singer. She's not been making this in a long time, and the zigzag stitch, I don't know how it's going to work out tomorrow, but well, maybe on the day after tomorrow, we'll see. But for now, this is it. Like I said, I got those 4 piles. I got this cut out. I'm happy about that. I did get a lot done. My back's now starting to hurt because unfortunately my table's lower than my chair, and this is the lowest my chair goes. So I need a little break. So I do thank you for taking the time to um, sit around and work with me. Please come back and watch tomorrow's video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop any questions and comments you have down in the description box. I'm getting back on my sewing. If there's something you want to see me sew, if I have what I need to sew it, I will most definitely sew it. If not, I'll even, buy it to sew it. But it's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks to get it. So keep that in mind because I'm out here in the islands. Um, but if you have any questions about sewing or anything, just drop it in the comments. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.